this video, I'm going to show you 3 ways to make your black products stand out on a black background. Let's do it. So the 3 products I have today is a pair of wireless headphones, a mascara, and a black watch. And I'm going to be creating 3 different photos that you can do at home. And I'm going to show you exactly how I'm going to shoot it, as well as how I'm going to edit it in post. And last time I did this, I only had 1 camera set up, but this time I got 2. This means that I hopefully can show you a little bit more detail when I'm shooting the photos. And with that out of the way, I'm going to start with the watch. And for the watch, I'm going to be playing around with some colors in order to make it pop. And for this shot, I'm going to be needing 2 lights, but I will tell you more about that once we get to it. So in order to prep the watch, I got one of these. This is just a thin piece of metal that I made myself that I can put behind the watch like so it doesn't lose its shape, which means that now I can just place it down without it falling flat. Now for the second thing, we need to make sure that the watch is set at 10 minutes past 10. Let's go, let's see. And this is simply done in order to make sure that we can see the logo. And the third step is just to clean it up. So just go around with a microfiber cloth, make sure that it is clean. Now the watch is ready, so we're just going to put that aside for now. And the next thing you're going to need is a plastic container, something like this. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. You can also do this if you just have a glass pane or something. It just needs to be able to have light travel through it, right? The next thing you're going to need is something like this. This is a red light gel. It has a hole in it, but from what I'm going to use it for, it's going to be fine. But if you don't have that and don't have the money in order to buy something like that, you might be able to go down to your local photography business and get one of these for free. This is just a stack of different filters that you can try out and use to see if you want to buy the full thing. So most photography businesses are just going to give you this for free. And as you can see, these are basically the same. You'll also be needing some of these again in order to make sure that the watch is not moving during the photo shoot. And lastly, for this shot, I'm going to be using a few of these. These are the black coals I'm going to be using for my background, and hopefully it's going to look like they're on fire. The only thing left to do is to set it up. Let's go. Now we have the first shot set up. For the key light here, I have my SK300 Mark II from Godox with a big softbox. Right down here I also have the Godox SK300 Mark II with the red gel. And so what I've done here is I have simply just put the watch down and then layered all the coal around it until we get an image like this. See, we have the light down here shooting up through it and hopefully getting some nice red colors. The camera settings right now are 125, f10, ISO 100. If you take a photo and it's not completely dark, even without flashes, that means that you're still getting some ambient light inside the photo. And there's a few things you can do in order to counter that. You can either lower your ISO. If that's not possible, then you can up your aperture. And if you don't want to do that, then you will have to either turn off the light or you'll have to block the lights from the shot. For me this time, it's all good. So what I can do now is just turn on my lamps, and I'm going to start with my background to see how that's going to look. Really intense. Just gonna move this a little more center. Okay. So as you can see, that right there is really intense. And that's exactly what I'm going for here. Great. Okay, so let's turn on the key light here. I like for it to be as close as possible without knocking anything over. Let's see. This is not really dramatic enough for me, but I think that's because this one is too straight down. So I'm gonna lower this and get a little more from the top. Let's just do that. Much cooler. Okay, that's way better, way better. And I'm just playing around with how the coal is laying in order to try and make more even image. I'm gonna try with the strip box instead just to see if that does anything. So the thing I'm not liking right now is actually just the lighting on the background. It is too white. I need it to either be darker or more red. I think it's missing something there. So what I'm doing is just trying to see if maybe we can do something where everything gets more red. If we keep this one at 4 as well. That's cool. I like that one. Oh wow, that's cool. Great. Okay, I like that one very much. So that's the first shot done. If you want to see how I edit it and how it turns out, keep watching. But you just saw I used nothing but my camera, a trigger, and 2 lights. My last video I used a tethering cable in order to see the images on my computer right away, but I know most of you guys probably don't have that. So this video I'm not going to use any of that. I'm going to be connecting my phone to my camera in order to see the image and see what I have to change and line things up so I don't have to walk back and forth. The next product is this one. This is a matte black mascara, and I'm going to be doing a clean photo with a nice reflection. And to do that, you can get yourself one of these. This is black acrylic. It is amazing for these types of things, and it's nice and big. But if you don't have that and don't want to spend money on it, you can also simply use a tablet. So that's what I'm going to be using today. And the last thing I'm going to be using for this photo is just some black paper for the background. So let's just set it up. And this is where I need to connect my phone, because I have to walk back and forth to change the light, to see the object, and to see the camera. And now I have this, and if I put my hand in, it's very simple. I can also take photos from this, and I can see it right on my phone. So I am just gonna straighten up this one, center it again. There we go. Look at this one. Now our base shot is done. We have the black background here. We have the product, the reflection, and the camera. We have this beautiful ring around the subject that helps to cut it out. This means that it's going to be super easy for me in Photoshop to cut out the background and replace it with a pure black, or even play around a little bit with the lighting, but you'll see that when we get to it. Now we need to set up the key light, and for this one I think a strip box is going to be perfect. So we're just gonna take this one over here. Just gonna put the light right there, and let's see. Way too bright. Okay, that's easy enough. That's more like it. I like this one. Cool. So this is our main shot. I'm gonna take a few shots here just to make sure that I have some clean light on the whole image. Right now I'm just playing around with the lights just to see what works. Let's see here. And I'm just gonna go handheld here. Take photos with my phone. The shiny part is a little bit tricky here, I think. Try a little bit from below and see if that's gonna work. Now we got this shot as well, which means that we only have one shot left before we go back and start editing. Alright, so for the last shot right here, we're going to take both of these wireless headphones. And there's 2 things I'm going to do here. I'm going to be making them float, as well as I'm going to make some textured. I should have seen that one coming. Alright, I'm going to use these sound panels in order to make some texture in the background. Here we have a textured background. And then we can use a stick and some sticky tag in order to make it look like it's floating. Let's see. Cool, cool. Now we have to charge in the correct position. Now what I need to do is to photograph these as well. I'm going to do that one at a time, and then we're going to Photoshop it afterwards. That's pretty cool. And the other one. And the last shot I'm going to try to get is just the underbelly without the stick right here. So I'm going to see exactly where that one is. It's perfect. There we go. And just to make sure, Just gonna take a photo of the background itself. All right, so that was the 3 setup. Now it's time to go back to the computer and start editing. All right, so that's it. Perfect. All right, so now we're back at the PC. It's been a couple of days. I've been sick, so I've had no time to look through these photos. We can do that together now. So firstly, I'm going to go through all the photos and just pick out the ones that I think has some potential to be used later on. So let's just see. The first one, I really like this one. You get the red lines around the watch here, and you get this amazing glow effect, exactly what we're going for. So I'm just going to press 1 in order to set the rating as 1 star down here. There you're just getting the bottom part instead. Really cool. And here we have a little too bright. I'm not really concerned about all the stones laying the exact same place. Looking through, this one is cool. This one is also very nice. As you can see, we are gonna need to clean up the watch. I didn't clean it completely when I was photographing, so that's my bad. But it's nothing we can't fix, so don't worry about that. I like the light on the inside of the watch right here. Compared to this is a little bit too dark. You can't even see this part. I do, however, like the upper part of this photo more than I do this. Take this one with me as well. All right, next one. Okay, so here we straighten it all out. I'm just gonna take this one because it is the perfect outline. See, that's too bright. That one's nice. I like the lighting on the shape right here. We can take this one as well, just to see. We got some nice light on the top half here. Maybe we can use that for something. Maybe this one as well. This one we might be able to pull some text from. Maybe we can do some creative lighting right here. Okay, let's look through which one. We got it right here. And then let's see. I like that one right here. That has a nice shape to it. Okay, and the other one. I actually like the first one very much. This one is in focus as well, so maybe that can work. Okay, and then I don't know which one of these are good. And then we just have the background. Okay, so now I've looked through all the photos right here and I have picked out the ones I like and the ones I want to try to create the photos with. And I think we're just going to start with the first photo right here, the watch. So let's see what we can do about that. I think maybe we're going to try and put these two up, 2 stars, and then this one and this one for the watch. So we have 2 photos for the watch and 2 photos for the background. So I think what we're going to do about this one is just going to lower the exposure a bit, up the contrast. Let's see. Just going to play around a little bit here. We're only looking out for the watch. I only want to see what I can do with that. Maybe up the clarity a little bit. It's vibrant. I think that looks all right. Let's see if we need to lower it a little bit more in the exposure. Something like that. There you go. Okay, so I just tried to throw these photos into Photoshop in order to see if they match. And unfortunately, they did not. So yeah, but you know, I had to try. These two should be much better. So I'm just gonna go with those instead. And that means that I'm just gonna do some quick edits here in order to make sure that they look good. So let's just throw these into layers in Photoshop. Here we have all the photos in Photoshop. I'm gonna mark them all, go to Edit, Auto Align, and then press OK to Auto. And what it does is make sure that all of our layers are aligned, aka Auto Alignment. Right? So let's see, that looks good. That looks good. A little bit of a warp down here. Let's see, these two looks good. Okay, this is something we can work with. So these two guys are the background, so we're gonna put a layer called PG. They're gonna be at the bottom. From this one, I only wanna do the top part here, so we're just gonna go in. I created a mask here, and I'm gonna invert it by Command I, and then I'm gonna paint it with a white brush. And if you don't have a white brush here, you can either go up to this part and make sure that it's completely up in the corner, or you can go down here and see if you have white one of these 2 places. If you have white in the background, you can change that by pressing this button right here, or press X on your keyboard. Right, let's just use a soft brush here and just paint in all the things that I want to keep, something like that. And I got a little bit here that I don't want, so in order to remove that, I'm just gonna press X to paint with black. And as you can see, I can just slowly paint that away, something like that. Yeah, that's nice. All right, let's see here. We can even do something like this. yeah, it just gives a little bit more to the watch. But I think what I'm gonna do is actually not use the photo at all. I'm just gonna use that as a reference photo, and I'm gonna do this in Photoshop itself. Let's change this to ref instead. And I think what I'm gonna do now is just a cleanup, so that's just gonna be sped through because you don't wanna see that. Alright, so here we have before and after. And as you can see, just with a little bit of time, you can create some very clean photos just by, cleaning it up. I can see I need a little bit up here in the top, but that's easy enough to do. There you go. So what I'm gonna do now is just gonna duplicate the layer, Command J, and then I think I'm gonna go to the magic wand here, and then I'm gonna hold Shift and just keep clicking all around the places where I see light coming through. And then I'm just gonna click on the mask, and then I'm gonna invert it by Command I. I'm gonna create a new layer on the bottom, and then I'm just gonna fill it. So this doesn't look good at all. So let's try a little bit of a brighter color, something like that. So let's just crop the image now. So here we have this one. So I can take it a little bit more over to the reddish. We're also going to create another layer. On this layer, we're just going to make it pure white. Then we can see this. And if we go to this mask right here, we can pull up the feather as well. That looks fine. Duplicate the layer down here. If we're going to select the mask, we can in here shift the edge, and we're gonna shift it outwards, something like 100%. That's a little bit too much, so let's just pull this back, something like 33%. There you go. There you can see how much that just did, just by doing that. It looks a little more natural here. I think we can go a little more reddish here, so let's do this. Test it out here and see. I think this one fits a little bit better. All right, now I think we're basically done with Photoshop. There's just one last thing I want to do here, and that is to add some sparks. And I can do that by doing two things. Let's just get rid of the ref here. All right, so what I have done is that I have found a few images that I thought could look really cool here. I found this photo right here on Google. I simply just searched fire sparks. And let's see, put in green and plumb it down there. It looks pretty cool. Definitely gives it a little bit more because it is going right in front of here. I'm simply just gonna create a mask and then soft brush again. And then just gonna paint away the thing that is just coming right there, just so we can see the watch a little bit clearer. Then we have this one as well. This one is a little bit different in color as well. Let's see. I actually think the lighting fits a little bit better here. So we have a little bit in front of the watch, so we're just gonna quickly get rid of that as well. Now, I know we can see a big difference between this one and this one, as well as the background. It's mostly just this one, it's too yellowish. What you can do is just click on hue and saturation right here, hold Alt, so it only affects the layer right below it, and then you can go into the yellow and you can change the hue, and as you can see, something like that, and you can change the saturation as well, and it just makes it fit with the image a lot more. So I actually think this image is done, and then all we have to do now is just to save it by pressing Command S, and we are back in Lightroom. I have the final photo right here. I have just pressed 5 to set the stars to 5. Now I can do my final edit on it. Do a little bit of hazing of the photo. I could go into the color tab here if I would like it a little more to the orangey side. I think that would be pretty cool. And again with the yellowish, bring it a little more to the orangey side here. And then I can just desaturate the rest. Since there's no color I need from the rest, I can just desaturate it. And that just makes the rest of the colors pop even more. Cool. Let's see. create a vignette and just keep the highlights, as you can see in the corner up here. If I pull the highlight slider, it's going to keep that, but I can still darken the edges even more. Here you have the before and after from that. Alright, so I think this photo is done. I think it looks really cool. I hope you like it as well. Let's just do the next one. We have all of these photos right here, and I'm just gonna do a quick cleanup just by going into detail, making sure we're only sharpening exactly what we want. I know we're at ISO 100, but there will always be a little bit of noise in your image, so I just took that away. I really like how it looks, just as it is. So I'm just gonna hold shift, synchronize. We don't need crop or healing. There we go. And then we're gonna take all of these and open up in Photoshop as layers. I'm sorry to interrupt. Future Miguel here. Apparently my microphone stopped working at this point, so for the rest of the video the sound might be a little bit weird, so I just wanted to apologize. Now, because all the photos here were taken from my phone, so it didn't touch the camera and I didn't move it at all of these should already align, and as you can see, they almost all align. Alright, so what we're gonna do again is just auto align the layers. And I think this one is just the mask, and we're just gonna keep that off for now. Then we're gonna go through here and we're just gonna press lighting. Let's see, what do we have here? Top. We just keep that off. These two guys we're also gonna keep off. We're just gonna make one of these here and call it left. So that is just the left side. We're gonna keep this as text because, as you can see right here, we have the text. Alright, so I actually think these are the 3 photos that we need. So this one is our starting point. So what I'm going to do now is just going to go in and paint away the stuff that I don't want to see, or rather paint in the stuff that I do want to see. So here we have it. Now for the last thing here, I'm just going to create a new layer with all of the images together. And then I'm gonna go in here and I'm just gonna create a mask, and I'm gonna paint out everything that I don't want. So now I have all of this here by itself. What I can do now is simply just create a bigger brush, take bigger chunks of it away. And you can create these straight lines by holding shift. Click one point, hold shift while clicking another point. Right, so now we have this product right here. I am going to turn this one back on just so I can use it as a guide, because if I press I and I take a spot right here, back to this one. There we go. And then if I do something like this one, I put that underneath. And just do this. Just like that, we have a totally clean product. What you can do now is actually be a little bit creative. You can create one of these, create something like this, and with this you can actually add a blur. Then you can go for something like this, 400. That looks pretty good. And then you can just slide that down and you can fade it out a little bit. Something like that, and there you have it. What you could do now is just go in and just clean up the product. As you can see, we have a lot of small spots right here. You just do a layer right here. I'm just gonna quickly do a copy so we can see before and after. You can do that so you can see before and after, and then you can go in and you can just clean up all the scratches, all the small imperfections we see. You can also go really into detail here and mask away the last part here that we skipped, and you can do that way more precisely than I'm doing. And just like that, we have a really cool product. So you can save that, come back into Lightroom, and then we can do the final touches right in here. So now we have it back into Lightroom. We can press 5. There we go. The only thing that I can see right here is that it's not centered, so I'm just gonna do that really fast, something like that. Other than that, I think that's a really cool product. So let's just get to the last one, and I think I'm gonna go with this one. I'm pressing 2. I think this one as well. I do believe this one would probably be the best too. Right, so I think I'm gonna go with these 3. Here we have this one and this one, and up here we have the other one. And for the last one, it's just gonna be the bottom part here we're gonna use. And you're just gonna right click, edit in, and open as layers in Photoshop. And in Photoshop here, I'm going to start off by content aware the top part here in order to fill it out. There we go, that looks perfect. There is one thing that I forgot to bring, and that was actually the clean shot. So we're just gonna throw that into Photoshop as well. I'm gonna bring that one over here. We're just gonna center it with the rest. We're gonna put that right in the back, and we're simply just gonna mask away the stuff that we don't want. So I'm just gonna go in here with a brush, and we're just gonna paint away. We're gonna paint me away here, I can see. And we just have the last part here. I'm just gonna use this small part just to fill in the bottom. If we lower the opacity a bit. Something like that. And then let's see it. And there you go. Easy as that. Again, we can go in here and clean up all of these small bits just to make sure that it looks as good as possible. But other than that, we are basically done. Command S, and then we can finish it up in Lightroom. This one could maybe use a little bit more contrast and a little bit more highlight, something like that. There you go. Here we have 3 photos, black on black. 3 different ways to do it. I hope you learned something. I hope you can use this. And if you did, hit that like button, and thank you so much for watching.